What's up, everybody? Bob Walters here, Locked Up Sports. We're here to talk about the Mets, and they are a mess, a disaster, whatever you want to call them. They have lost 9 in a row. It is just been a terrible start to the season. 7-13, last place in the NL East. One of the worst records in baseball. This team that has one of the biggest payrolls that the game has ever seen is all of a sudden now 7-13 in last place, losers of 9 in a row, and there's no sight of them getting out of it. Yesterday was another disaster by Senga, and you just kind of got to look at, like, you kind of thinking, like, is this team ever going to win again? Obviously they will, but I you know what? And I was with it for a while. I was saying they're not as bad. Don't worry about it. They're going to break out of this. And I still think listen, they're going to win some games this year. They're going to break out of this. I don't think they're going to be a 60-win team like some people think they're going to be. But it's starting to get to the point now where you're looking at it and you're just saying, is this just a bad baseball team? I mean, are they just, a terrible team that can't gel together? Are they going to cost their manager his job here in April? People are already calling for the GM to be fired, which is, that's obviously a little ridiculous. The GM's not going to get fired in April when he finally gets his chance to build his own team, and his best player goes down, and they have a 9-game losing streak, and they're in 20 games into the season in the last place. They're not going to fire the GM, so you can forget about that. But I mean, this team is a mess, and I don't want to see Mendoza get fired, but I also know that somebody's gonna, heads are gonna have to roll. I mean, they still got 2 games left. They got today, and they got tomorrow in Wrigley, and then they come home. And if you think it's gonna be any better at home, listen, they're gonna come home to a rough welcoming from Citi Field crowd and the Mets fans. Mets fans are not happy with this team. And yesterday was just a microcosm of the whole losing streak. Because when they pitch, they don't hit. When they hit, they don't pitch. And then when they do both, they end up they still somehow lose. And I get that it's a tough. They were in a tough spot, right? Not playing well, going out west to play the. Hold on, let me turn this on. Going out west to play the Dodgers, which is a no-win situation. I mean, you didn't want to get swept there. You would have liked to take one of the games, but the Dodgers are better. You don't go out west to get better and play the Dodgers. That doesn't happen. But yesterday, I mean, how do you get 14 hits and 3 runs? Someone explain that to me. The Cubs got 14 hits. The Cubs got 12 runs. The Mets got 14 hits. They got 4 runs. You know how hard that is to do? That's not easy. And Senga, I'm sick of Senga. He's got to come out. He's got to be out of the rotation, I think. I think Senga's got to come out. And I'm not saying replace him with Minaya either, because Manaya's thrown more innings than the starters have on this team. Manaya's at 72 innings pitched. The starters don't have 72 innings pitched. So Minaya has been out there more than the starters. He's been okay. Yesterday, obviously not very good. He kind of lost it in the late innings. And then you got the defense, which was supposed to be fantastic, right? Simeon. Oh, we got Simeon, second base. We short up the middle infield. We got the best middle infield in baseball. And we got the best middle infield in baseball. We got Lindor and Simeon. And Simeon yesterday makes a bad throw to first on the play. Vientos swipes the tag, misses it, and the guy misses first base, and Vientos is not paying attention, and he just gets back easily. Those are things that losing teams do. Listen, the guy missed the base. You missed the tag, the guy missed the base. Go tag him. You were closer to first base than he was. He was about 8 to 10 feet past first base, and he had to hustle back to touch it, and Vientos is still standing there in La La Land. I mean, this is the longest losing streak that, okay, we got to a point where we said, okay, calm down. It's not a big deal. Everyone's making a bigger deal of it. Now you're at the longest losing streak in 22 years for the Mets. The last time they had a losing streak like this was 11, and the Mets are well on their way to 11 if they play anything like they did yesterday. Yesterday they had 1 inning, 3 runs. They scored 3 runs in the second inning. That inning alone matched the total run output for the 39 previous innings. Yesterday's second inning, 3-run second inning for the Mets, matched the total output of runs scored by the team for 39 previous innings. And they were still losing after that inning. I mean, they come out and they're behind the 8 ball immediately. because Senga goes out there and just gives up, throws batting practice, 6 runs in 2 innings. Peterson does the same thing every time he goes out. And then every time McLean goes out and throws a gem, they don't put any runs up. They lose. They put 2 runs up. Peralta today, listen, big one for Peralta today. I think he's pitched okay. Peralta's been okay, right? Hold on one second. Let me bring this up here. Hey, listen, if you guys want to call the show, if you want to join the conversation, just hit that, scan that QR code. It'll bring you right into the show. And you can talk to us. You can talk on the show. Tell us. We want to hear from the Mets fans, the frustrations, how, listen, I get it. We're all frustrated at this point. We look so forward to the baseball season for so long. And then what happens? 9-game losing streak, 7-13. And the Cubs are no good. Cubs are 10-9. And for them to come out and kill you like that yesterday in a game with Wrigley where the wind's blowing out, and you could kind of come back in games like that, right? We've seen that. One of those classic, 11-8, 12, 12-10 games, Wrigley Field game where the wind's blowing out, just everything, the scores going back and forth, everybody's scoring runs. Mets couldn't do it. You know why? Because they don't get hits when they get runners in scoring position. They bunched together 3 or 4 hits in that second inning, and that was it. That was it. They had runners in scoring position multiple times. They loaded the bases one time. They pop up every single time. Every single time. There's my boy Dwayne James. What's up, buddy? Thank you. Thanks for listening, bro. Listen, it's just mind-boggling watching this team play. And you sit there and you just want to throw stuff at the television because you're sitting there and you're like, this is terrible. Like, how many times do we got to get runners in scoring position and then with 2 outs, then a ground out, a fly out. And now Polanco on the injured list. He had the Achilles thing going on. Now it's the wrist, so he's falling apart. You got Simeon making throws to first base that are wide. The best second baseman since sliced bread, and he's making bad throws. You got Beatty, who can't feel the ground ball at first base. He booted the one in the 7th inning yesterday. There were 2 misplays there. He's lucky he didn't get 2 errors. They gave him the hit on one of them because I guess it was hit hard. So he stinks. Beatty can't hit anything either. Vientos has been okay at first. Lindor, just get your head in the damn game. He's walking the first he's on ball 3 yesterday. Just get your head in the game, Lindor. And I'm a Lindor defender. Lindor, to me, he's one of the best players in the league. He's going to the Hall of Fame. But how long can we sit here with this? These bad starts. This year, you know what? We could put up with the bad starts with Lindor. I could live with it because he always comes through and he always hits to the back of his baseball card and he's always clutch in the big spot. But this year, we needed him to not have not hit 125 through the first month of the season. Because everybody else was hitting 125 and because Soto got hurt and he just can't break out of it. He's starting to come out of it now. He got 2 hits yesterday. He's starting to get hits, but these mental errors all over the place. And just a microcosm of it is yesterday he's walking the first base, taking his thing off, walking the first base, ball 3. That right there says it all. They don't have their head in the game. And I don't want to see Mendoza get fired, but firing the manager too, it doesn't do anything. It's not gonna change. They're not gonna all of a sudden start hitting. You know what they're gonna end up doing? They're gonna fire the hitting coach, which is another just a ceremonial thing to throw some meat to the fans because they want somebody fired. They need somebody to blame for this, but that doesn't do anything. Hitting coaches don't do anything in baseball anyway. But is Mendoza gonna get fired? I don't think he will. I mean, listen, if this thing gets to like 15, he might get fired. Let me just bring this up here. There it is. If the Mets get to 15, if they lose today, they lose tomorrow, and then they go home and they lose the first 2 games to Minnesota, Mendoza could be in trouble. But I like Mendoza. Listen, he's not out there doing these things. He switched up the lineup yesterday and they got 14 hits. Somehow, some way, 14 hits, they scored 4 runs. Cubs had 14 hits. They scored 12 runs. They're hitting home runs. And I get it that it's the Soto's out. and everybody's slumping. And when teams slump, they look like they're not trying, and it just looks worse than it is. Like when a player's not hitting, you're always like, oh man, he's not even trying. He doesn't care because that's just how it looks, right? He's slumping his head. He's jogging the first. You just notice the little things that you don't notice when they are hitting that they still do. But this is it's the whole team. You go down that lineup and it's just 150, 138. Let me bring it up. I'm going to bring it up here. Let me see if it has it here on this one. Does it have their averages? No, it doesn't. It doesn't have their averages. But I mean, the averages are like 140, 165. We got MJ Melendez is our new star because he happened to go 3 for 6 when he came out of the gate on the Mets. I mean, come on. This is one of the highest payrolls in the history of baseball. And I didn't even want to come on and sit here and scream about the Mets because it's only 20 games. And it's literally ridiculous to even sit here and talk about firing the manager and the team stinks and cash the season in, it's over. And they're in last place. You can't even be looking at the schedules and stuff at 20 games. You really can't because it's not fair. It's 20 games. There's been countless times teams have stunk for 20 games. Most teams will have a stretch during the season where they stink for 20 games. Most teams. And you just kind of, it's just part of the deal. But this just seems worse, and it's such a bad start after the way last year ended to come out this year and basically just continue with a whole new team. Whole new team, just continue where they pick up where they left off last year. And I defended every one of these moves. I said I would have loved to have Pete back for this year and for next year, but I wouldn't have given him 5 years because I don't think he's got 5 years left. I think the back 3 years of that contract is going to be terrible. And I knew Pete is going to have a good year to this year, and I knew he would. And Nimmo, I was never a Nimmo guy. I think he was overrated. He's average at best. He never had 30 home runs. If you want to have a team that's winning in this league, your corner outfielders have to be able to hit, big numbers, power numbers. And Nimmo was not that guy, and he's declining and everything. And of course, they come out. Pete struggles a bit in the beginning. Nimmo's tearing the cover off the ball. Now Pete's hitting home runs left and right for Baltimore. They're winning games. And the Mets are sitting there with, Simeon throwing the ball all over the place. The Mets' long reliever, the Mets' mop-up man, Sean Manaea, has pitched more innings than any of their starters, 72 innings. He's the mop-up guy. Comes in when the game's over, and they're just like, we just need you to eat up some innings. Throw anybody out there. They don't care because the game's over most of the time. Most of the times, the mop-up guy comes in, the game's already over. Manaea comes in. He's got 72 innings in 3.5 weeks. Lindor hitting, 126. Let me see if I can bring up the averages for the starting lineup today because it's really absurd. Let's see. All right, here we go. So we got, and because he switched the lineup yesterday, it looks like he's going to go with the same one today. Mendoza, that is. The leadoff hitter, Carson Benj, hitting 158. Bichette hitting 226. Lindor, right at the Mendoza line, 200. Robert Jr., 242. MJ Melendez, there's our guy. Ready? 571. Alvarez, 239. Beatty, 197. Simeon, 211. So you got 1, 2, 3 guys hitting on the interstate. You got Lindor right at the Mendoza line at 200 even flat. It's just, the OPSs are in the 400s, and it's a disaster. And like I said, they hit the ball yesterday, right? 14 hits. Somehow 4 runs. You know why? Because they don't hit with runners in scoring position. And they only get runners in scoring position with 2 outs. And then Manaea and you can't go down 4-0 right in the first inning. That's just a gut punch. You got Peralta today, and he better win today. Peralta better win today because tomorrow's Peterson. And Peterson is just the American Senga. He basically comes out there, he stinks for the first 3 innings. They're down 6-2, and then he somehow finds it and he pitches well for a couple innings. But the game's already over. I mean, it's really unbelievable, and it's ridiculous, and it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. Anybody wants to call up the show, just scan the QR code or comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Frustrated Mets fans, everybody out there, it's not fun. As we get ready for Knicks Hawks tonight, game 1, we're sitting here talking about the Mets who haven't won now in 2 weeks. And they got Italian going today. Listen, Peralta pitched well. He pitched into some bad luck in his last outing. He finally went 6 innings. That's another thing. They're going to burn out this bullpen. And I know Minaya is kind of helping, but they're going to burn Minaya out. They need to get Soto back. They need Soto to come back, and they need him to come back on a tear. It's not going to be too late when Soto comes back. I've heard that going around. Oh, it doesn't matter because when Soto comes back, it's going to be too late anyway. It's not going to be too late anyway. Because it's not too late until you get to like June and you're a bad team. 60 games. 60 games is the number where you can really start to look at it and look at the standings and everything. And I know I'm doing that right now today, but that's just because it's just frustration that I wanted to get out. I mean, Polanco's hurt already. We got McLean, who's leading the NL. It's just such a random and up and down team right now. McLean's leading the race for the NL Rookie of the Year, which you knew he would. You got Lindor going to the Hall of Fame, hitting 200, just starting to get his season going. Our mop-up man has more innings than any of our starters. 2 of our starters, and I know they're at the back end of the rotation, 2 of our starters can't get out of the second inning. Senga's throwing batting practice up there. And I don't want to hear that, he can't pitch on 5 days rest. You can't pitch on 5 days rest. So you're going to screw everybody else up so you get an extra day? Because everybody else has been pitching on 5 days rest their whole life. So now you come into this rotation and you're not coming in exactly, with gold medals and all this, hoopla about being a great pitcher. You're coming in here sucking for 2 years and getting hurt for 2 years. And you can be like, well, I need 6 days. So we're going to have to plug another guy in there just so you can pitch on the 6th day because you can't pitch on 5 days. I hate that. I don't want them to cater to that either. Because that's going to screw everybody else up. And listen, we got a good thing going at the top of the rotation. Peralta's good. McLean is I told you McLean's going to be the ace of the staff by the All-Star break. If he's not already. The guy comes out and he throws 7 innings every day, every time. He shuts teams down. The movement on his pitches is incredible. And he loses 2-1. It's very DeGrom-like with McLean. And the Mets have been doing this forever, right? They get a great pitcher, they don't score any runs. Then they get Senga out there and they get 14 hits and then 4 runs. And listen, Mendoza's got to be careful because I don't think he's in trouble yet. And Stearns came out and said, all right, we got a vote of confidence. He gave him a vote of confidence, which means nothing because he can fire him today if he wants to. These votes of confidence when the GM comes out and he says, oh, we believe in him, blah, 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 blah. He's going to keep his job. We know we're just a rut. We're going to get out of it. Blah, blah, blah. Fire him today if he wants to. So and nobody would even think twice about what he said yesterday. So it's really not that serious. You got 3 guys in your lineup. You got Carson Bench. They're going to have to figure that out. Because Carson Bench, now your leadoff hitter, for some reason he thought that was the place to put him. He's hitting 158. And 3 days ago he was hitting 126. So we gotta figure out Carson Bench. And I said that, and I told you he was going to struggle when he came up. I knew there were going to be struggles. I didn't think it'd be like this, and I didn't think the whole lineup would be struggling. I figured, okay, we can struggle. Carson Bench can struggle, find his way in the major leagues, and he'll be okay because we can have one guy hitting 200 or 175 in the lineup, and the rest of the team's hitting. You could okay, but I mean, he's just a black hole. And now you put him at leadoff. I mean, I don't know. He's got a little bit of speed. He plays good defense. I'll tell him that. He makes some nice catches out in the outfield. Couple sliding catches. Made a nice one yesterday coming in on the ball. He's got a good arm. But you got to hit. If you're in a corner outfield position, you got to hit. And Robert Jr., I haven't been impressed with the defense out there. And with Robert Jr., another one hitting 242. Okay, so he's one of our better hitters. I shouldn't say anything. But Alvarez is really the only one that hits, and he doesn't hit with runners in scoring position. I like how he legged out an infield hit yesterday. Because Alvarez, you don't see catchers legging out infield hits. But it's not enough. And Vientos was hitting, and he wasn't hitting. Now Beatty's not hitting. Beatty was hitting at first base, and you know what? I'm guilty of it too, and I was wrong because we think we could just throw anybody at first base, right? That's what the general knowledge, and we're all guilty of it. Throw anybody at first base, and it doesn't matter because Pete was terrible, right? Pete wasn't terrible. Pete was okay. He wasn't good. He wasn't great defensively in first base, but he was okay. He picked the balls out of the dirt. He saved some errors. We made most of the plays. And we just think that we think of the little league mentality where just throw him at first base. You got to sit there and catch it, right? Catch, and then that's it. It's a whole lot to first base defensively. Footwork and just where they're going to play and the aggressiveness and whether you're lefty or righty. There's a whole lot to playing first base. And we just say throw anybody there. You can teach him. He'll figure it out. Just catch the ball when we throw it to you. He'll have your foot on the base, and that's it. And that's not true. And we're learning that. And it's costing the Mets. And it's costing the Mets the fact that they don't have a first baseman, because they don't have a first baseman, right? Vientos isn't a first baseman. Beatty's not a first baseman. Blanco's not a first. None of these guys are first baseman. They don't have a first baseman on the team. And I'm not saying they should have kept Pete. Pete had to go. With the 5 years, he had to take that deal. Mets would have been stupid to offer him the 5 years unless you planned on cutting him after 3. They would have been stupid to offer him the 5 years. But they don't have a first baseman, like a guy who can play first base. They went on the assumption that throw someone over at first base, he'll figure it out. Keep your foot on the bag, catch the ball, you're good to go. And that's not first base, not in the major leagues. And yesterday it cost them, and you could see it cost them a couple times with some pickoffs that have gone, attempts that have gone down the right field line. You've seen it cost them with misplays at first base, with the glove on the ground balls, with cutoffs. It's a lot that goes into first base. It's not little league, and like I said, I'm guilty of it too. I teach them first base, right? Foot on the bag, catch the ball, good to go. It's not true. It's not true. And now the Mets are 7-13, last place, and they better win today. I said that yesterday. You gotta break out of this somehow. Even if you lose tomorrow, you gotta win today. Because don't come home 11 in a row. Because it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be a pretty sight at Citi Field. When you take that field for the first time in a week and a half, and the boos are just raining down. Because that's what's going to happen. Mets fans are pissed off. I saw someone, I just commented on something on Facebook. There's a petition. Someone started a petition to have to have Stearns fired. Now, listen, it's not gonna happen. Not gonna fire Stearns. Finally gets his team, right? Finally builds his team, and he's well respected, and I like Stearns. Finally builds his team. Best player, one of the best players in baseball, and the best player on his team goes down with an injury. Team loses 9 in a row. It's still April. They played 20 games. They're 7-13. He's not firing him. Mendoza might get fired. And that's not going to change anything either. You know, you could all call for Mendoza and Stearns and fire everybody. Not going to make him hit. It's not going to make, Benj get a base hit with a runner on second. It's not going to rip Lindor out of his slump. It's not going to all of a sudden lower Senga's ERA to 1.7. Now, I would start searching around. I would start thinking about possibly pulling Senga out of this rotation. You can't keep running this guy out there, right? He's throwing batting practice. Possibly pulling him out of the rotation and exploring where you want to go with that. Minaya, I wouldn't put Minaya in there because you know what? If Minaya pitches more than like 3 or 4 innings, they start to get to him. He's throwing 75 miles an hour, and his fastball is touching 90, 91. He can't be in there that long. He's a good mop-up guy. Leave him in the mop-up guy. Right? He pitched all right. He's had to get a fall off yesterday late in the game, but whatever. I think you should go down, and I think you should think about possibly promoting Jonah Tong into the Senga spot in the lineup, in the rotation. He's pitched well down in AAA. He had the last two starts have been excellent. I mean, Senga's been terrible these last two starts. Batting practice. Those were the home runs batting practice yesterday. And it would have been 6-0 right off the bat if the Mets didn't string together a couple doubles and a couple hits. And right now you're looking at a team that's in last place that feels like they're never going to win a game again, ever. Right? It feels like that. We've been here before, but it feels like that. The longest losing streak in 22 years. They just traded away. They just got rid of a bunch of big stars in this town. A bunch of big names. Alonso, Nimmo, Diaz. Big names. Whether they should have gone or not, those are big names that are not on this team right now that are playing well on their new teams. And the new guys you brought in can't hit the water if they jump out of a boat. Throwing the ball all over the infield. The kid boy wonder is up here, completely out of his league. Your pitchers stink. The bullpen, Weaver, the last two times Weaver came out, that was the disaster. We haven't seen the closer in 10 days, I feel like. What's he going to be like? What's he going to be like when the Mets get a lead into the ninth inning today? Let's say, 3-2. They lead 3-2 going to the ninth. They bring the closer in. He hasn't pitched in God knows how long. I haven't seen him. I mean, maybe he's gotten into one of these games, but I haven't seen him in a while. And now you ask him, hold this lead, end this losing streak. We need this big time. He's going to blow it. He's going to blow it. You know he's going to blow it. Because that's what they do. That's what Mets fans, that's what the Mets do. It's not easy. Hopefully the Knicks win tonight. I think the Knicks will win tonight, though. I do. We're gonna do Knicks later. But I think Knicks win this series pretty easily. 5 games, maybe 6. Maybe 6. You want to go 5, though, because you don't want to be laboring through the first round. If you're a team that wants to go to the finals or expected to go to the finals, you don't want to be laboring through the first round with 6 games and get beat up, and you don't want to do that. Do it quickly, 5 games, sweep them away, and then move on to the second round. Because you start messing around with 6 games in the first round, second round, you go 7 games, something like that, then you get tired and you get beat up in the conference finals. And it's finals or bust for the Knicks. But with the Mets, listen, you better win today. It's going to be ugly when they come home on Tuesday. And the Twins, it's not going to be pretty. It's really not. And Mendoza's job is going to be, if they go home 11 straight losses, they lose the first 2 to the Twins, Mendoza's good chance he could get fired. And like I said, it's not going to change. It won't change anything. It's not going to make them, Senga get out. It's not going to make Peterson all of a sudden become Nolan Ryan. It's not going to be like that. But it'll give the fans what they want. Some red meat. Right, throw them something. The hitting coach will be first to go. The hitting coach is a terrible job because the hitting coach is just the first one to go. He doesn't do anything. These guys know how to hit. They're in the major leagues. They got here somehow. They have the same batting stance they've had since Little League. They know how to hit. So you're not really changing much anyway. They're looking at film. They're looking at the iPads and stuff. They know what they're doing. They don't need you. And yet the hitting coach is always the first one fired. I don't even know who the hitting coach is for the Mets. But I guarantee his seat is the hottest in the coaching staff right now. I mean, and Senga, I don't want to see Senga again. At least the only good thing they have going for them is Tuesday at Citi Field. It's going to be McLean, and you should get a well-pitched game. Because God forbid that they lose 11 in a row. They come home, they're down 4-1, second, third inning. I'll forget it's become a nightmare there. But hey, listen, get out of this thing, all right? They got to start hitting. They just started hitting yesterday. Now they got the hitting now. They got to score runs, right? You can't have 14 hits and 4 runs when the team you're playing has 14 hits and 12 runs. You can't have that. That's not going to fly. You can't just get hits in the beginning of innings and stuff and leave these guys in double plays all over the place. I mean, come on. And Peralta, I have faith. I think Peralta's going to pitch well today. I think they win today. Let me put it that way. I think they win today. I think today they finally break it. I don't think it gets to the 11 to tie the longest one in 22 years. They scored 3 runs in the second yesterday. Listen, and like I said, it was a tough ask going to L.A. and playing the Dodgers when you're coming and playing bad. But they shouldn't have been playing bad. That last homestand was a homestand where you go and you're like, okay, listen, we got the A's coming in. We got the Diamondbacks coming in. 5 out of 6. And I even said it before that homestand. I said 5 out of 6 is what I want this homestand. They lost 5 out of 6. They got 5 out of 6. They just lost it. And then just to go right to L.A., and second West Coast trip of the season without Soto. So they need Soto back too. They need him back. And we can't have him come back and be 3 weeks getting, back into form. He's got to come back. He's got to start hit the ground running. And the injuries, it's just starting to look like they might be a bad team. It just has that feel of a mid-90s to somewhat late 90s, 97 type of feel. Now, I'm not saying that means anything. To me, it just feels like it could be going off the tracks here a bit. And it's still early. It's only 20 games. Plenty of time to turn around. They do have a good lineup. Listen, Bo Bichette's good. Bo Bichette didn't forget how to play baseball over the winter. He's good. Lindor's a Hall of Famer. Lindor's not falling off yet. Okay, a couple of years maybe, but not yet. Soto is a generational player. McLean looks like an ace of aces. But when nobody hits, it looks real bad. And someone's going to have to pay. So we'll see. Mets and Cubs, 2:20 today. We should have the game on here on Locked Up Sports on YouTube. We do a radio style broadcast. Check it out. It's good. You'll enjoy it. If you're not near a TV, you can't get the radio, the regular radio call, check us out. That's it for me. If you guys have anything, let me know. We'll do some Knicks later, 7:30, I think, with Mark Mancini coming on. We'll do some Knicks. We'll do, we'll dive into that. See if we'll get some guests coming on soon. That's it. I just wanted to come on and rant about the Mets I wanted to come on for like 10, 15 minutes. What did I do here? I did a half hour. So that does it for us. Listen, have a good day, everybody. Enjoy your Saturday. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. See ya.